1982年3月19日、フロリダの青い空から一人の天才が消えました。ランディ・ローズ、享年25歳。ロックの歴史には数多くのギタリストが名を連ねていますが、彼ほど貴公子という言葉がふさわしい男は他にいません。端正な顔立ち、謙虚な振る舞い、そしてそれとは対照的な聴く者の魂を切り裂くような鋭いギターの方向。3月19日は不可解な飛行機事故で命を落とした彼の命日。悲劇の日に寄せて僕たちが愛してやまないランディの足跡を静かにたどります。ランディ・ローズの最大の功績はヘビーメタルの攻撃性にクラシック音楽の緻密な理論と優雅さを持ち込んだことでした。音楽教師だった母ドロレスさんの影響で6歳からクラシックギターを習い始めます。クラシック音楽を早くからたしなんでいた彼にとってギターは単なる爆音を鳴らす道具ではありませんでした。それは緻密に構成された音符を空中に描くための筆だったのです。クワイエット・ライオットを経てオジー・オズボーンというカオスに出会った時、ランディの才能は爆発しました。ブリザード・オブ・オーズ、Diary of a Madman。彼が残したわずか2枚のスタジオアルバムは40年以上経った今もギタリストたちのバイブルであり続けています。多くのロックスターが酒や薬、名声に溺れていく中、ランディだけは違いました。ツアー先でも常にクラシックギターの練習を欠かさず、現地のギター講師を訪ねては教えを請う。そんなストイックな姿が多くの関係者の記憶に残っています。実は、ランディは亡くなる直前、このツアーが終わったら大学でクラシック音楽を学び直したいんだとオジー・オズボーンに告げていたと言います。現に彼はその頃すでに母親のドロレスさんに UCLA カリフォルニア大学ロサンゼルス校ですね、お母さんの母校でもありますに願書を出してもらっていたそうですから本気だったことが伺えます。ランディ・ローズにとってバンドでエレキギターを鳴らすのは単なる通過点だったということだったんでしょう。彼はさらなる高みを目指していました。もしあの運命の朝が来なければ僕たちはどんな新しい音楽を耳にしていたのでしょうか。オジー・オズボーンはランディのことを語るたびにその目を潤ませていました。彼はどん底にいた俺の命を救ってくれた神からの贈り物だったと。ザック・ワイルド、ジョージ・リンチ、ジェイク・イリー、エディ・バンヘイレン、トム・モレロ。彼をリスペクトするミュージシャンは数知れません。ランディ・ローズのギターは単なるテクニックの孤児ではなく、聴く者の心に直接触れる祈りのような響きを持っていたからでしょう。ランディ・ローズ、彼は今も天国でギターを弾き続けていることでしょう。彼の奏でた旋律は今この瞬間も誰かの絶望を希望に変えています。ここからは生前のランディ・ローズをよく知るミュージシャンの回想話をいくつかご紹介して終わりたいと思います。ロックブラッド、今回は追悼会という形でお送りしましたが、次回はもう少し掘り下げてランディの生い立ちから彼の命を奪った悲劇の飛行機事故の真相までを詳しくお送りしたいと思います。
The guitar was his girlfriend. It was his wife. It was everything. He didn't put it down. And so, if you were going to hang out with Randy, he was going to be playing his guitar. And Alice Cooper was really the turning point. His older brother invited us to go see him. We didn't know what to expect. We'd never been to a rock concert. We're like, wow, look at this. This is cool. You know, maybe someday we can do this, you know? It was like, okay, that's what we want to do. We want to be that. We didn't want to be normal. We wanted to be different, weird, bizarre, shocking. Whatever everybody else wasn't doing, that's what we wanted to do.
Randy had come to one of our gigs. We're doing a live album with Gary, and Randy showed up. He came to rehearsal to meet Gary because he was a big Gary Moore fan. No one knew who Randy was because he hadn't even recorded anything yet. And when I was in Don's office, I heard something on a cassette. And I said, wow, who is that? And Don Arden said, it's Ozzy Osbourne's new guitars. And I said, wow. There was no vocals or anything. It was just a rough guitar. It sounded like a rough demo.
Yeah.
And I said, whoa, wow. Well, I'd heard Randy's playing before I'd ever met Randy, even though he'd never played on any records up to that, any big records. I don't know if he'd done anything with Quiet Riot. They plucked him out of early Quiet Riot off the Sunset Strip, you know.
We'll say that in Ozzy, he blossomed. And those two records were just, fuck me. I mean, that was a whole other dimension that I still to this day could just take a deep dive and try to learn from his compositional skills and the classical influences that went into his writing. It was crazy. And his choice of notes, just so smart and so articulate and so like everything had a point and it was all unexpected. So he created something new and it was really important.
He was one guitarist who was honest anyway. Because I read some interviews that he did, and he said that everything he did, he learned from me, you know. And he was good. And, God damn it, I mean, what a fucking way to go, you know. I mean, obviously, the guy, they must have been fucked up, jerking around with with the airplane. It was an accident, but they were definitely fucked up when it happened. They had to have been. You know, you don't fly that low and smash into a crude bus and then hit the house, you know. They were jerking off. I feel sorry for him. I mean, hey, well, you never know, man. He might be up there jamming with Bonham and everyone else, you know, who kicked the bucket.
Oh, he was an amazing guitar player. Compositionally, he I mean, he was very advanced. It was almost classical in style, but in a rock mode. And compositionally, he was great. Solo wise, he was great. He was able to. He had this great technique, and still a lot of feel. The thing that I'm always like, you can have great technique as long as you got that feel. He would have that feel. And the way he phrased and his melodic sensibility when doing solos, he was an awesome guitar player.
All right, there's some Randy Rhoads licks, and when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, I was a huge fan of Randy. I still am, but that's when he was around and playing. I saw him play twice with Ozzy. Blew my mind. It was just great tone, great playing, fire-breathing guitar sound. And he even did a guitar clinic in Greensburg, this little town where I grew up. I don't think he did any other clinics anywhere in the world, and the fact that he did one in Greensburg, this little town where I grew up, to me just is sort of a really strange coincidence. But of course he died tragically, and I was so sad. He's gone, and one of my heroes is suddenly not there. And but I had learned so much of the stuff, and I got this harebrained scheme that I might, be able to replace him.
Well, Lee and I went back to the hotel then, and we just sat there drinking toast to Randy and crying. It was awful. And we were obligated to, contractually obligated, so we couldn't make the funeral because we had gigs to do and a tour to do. We'd just started the tour. That was the first show of the tour. So ironically, we were in the air on the way to Houston when Randy was killed.
Well, Randy was just brilliant, I mean, of course he got better after he died, because everybody does, but I loved Randy, yeah. He took risks, he wasn't scared, I mean, he knew his instrument, so he'd just go for it. That's what I used to like about him. And you could, Ozzy used to throw him around, throw him up on his shoulder while he was playing, he never missed a note.
Anyways, this amp right here, it's after one of the greatest guitar players that ever lived. And he was such a special part in my life, still is, always will be. And that's the reason why I play the way I do. try to keep up with Rando, but you know, he's the man. But anyways, hope you guys love this amp, and they keep making it. And thank God we have Father Marshall, and God bless Randy Rhoads and Mrs. Rhoads and the whole family. God bless. All right, Randy Rhoads, Jim Marshall, game on. That's it.
Basically, we jammed to Johnny Winter songs.
Really?
Yeah, Randy was like doing all these crazy pentatonic blues, but also with more outside of the box playing,
Right,
not
so
just
the
sticking to the
classical
pentatonics,
influence.
you know, some classical,
Right.
using the melodic minor and, you know, harmonic minor scales and all that. So it was very, very unique style of playing.
I wasn't there when he found Randy. He found Randy in LA, and then they came over here to rehearse, and I used to go up and watch them rehearsing and stuff, and Randy would say to me, you know, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here. He was quite apprehensive about the whole thing because he was studying classical guitar, and actually I think he felt it was interrupting his studies in a way.
Right.
And I said, no, this is great for you, man. You've got to do this, you know. And so I think I gave him the right advice. He was a lovely guy. He was a really, really nice kid, really sweet guy, and great guitar player, obviously. Great guitar player.
This guy, you got to hear this guy play. This guy's amazing, you know. Because after leaving Black Sabbath, I just locked myself away for 3 months in this apartment, just getting drunk every day. And I was absolutely smashed one night, and the door knocks about 11 o'clock in the evening, and this guy standing there with this little frail, blonde-haired kid, and literally, he was like 102 pounds wet, you know, this guy. And he come in, and I at first I thought he was a woofter at first. He looked so feminine. He had long fingernails and all this. You know. So I went down and hear him play. I was absolutely drunk as a monkey, you know. And I hear this guy playing in this little amp, and I shut up and I thought, I thought I was hallucinating or something. What this guy was playing. I said, can you know, mumbled something to the effect of, can you come round tomorrow? And it just happened like that. And I flew back to England, and I said to Sharon's father, who was still involved with us then, you got to hear this player. And he said, no, we'll find one here. Meanwhile, Sharon came from America, and I said to Sharon, please get me this guy. And Sharon went back and got Randy. And he came to England, and he lived with me in my house we lived together for about a year in my house, writing songs.
Randy was different entirely. I remember in the last journey I ever had with Randy Rhoads, that fatal journey from Knoxville, Tennessee to Orlando, Florida, and we had to stop off at the bus depot for some parts or a fucking jack or something. And he was playing like classic. It was like classical, learning classical music, and every town that we would go to, we'd go and get a classical lesson. I mean, he's a fucking guy in a rock band. I said, what are you mad? He said to me, you know what, on this bus journey from Knoxville, he goes, I think I want to give rock and roll up. He said, I want to go to university at UCLA and get a degree in classical. And like my head goes, oh, what? Are you crazy? I said, we're just about to explode, man. I said, wait until we get the fucking dough, you know. Don't start fucking giving me the shits at this point, man. I said, because, you know, I've come a long way to get here, you know. He said, oh, no. He said, not immediately. I mean, he wasn't into it like the thing is now. Like, he was into his instrument, where 90% of the players today, they use their instrument as a means to becoming a millionaire. Well, he wasn't interested. He would, you know, he wanted to be a millionaire. He would have liked to have been wealthy, rather, but it didn't really particularly bother him because he was the only musician that in the sense of musician that I've ever had the honor to work with. His love, first and foremost, was his instrument, you know, and all the other stuff. And I remember when he got best guitar player of the year, best new guitar player of the year, he was shy, you know. I have a photograph of someone, and he's like shy, you know. Why me, you know? And it's really strange. I knew he wouldn't. When I first met Randy Rhoads, something inside me said, "This man's not going to live to be an old man. He's lived to be an old guy, you know. He's something different about him, you know."
I've been fortunate over the years to play with some of the world's greatest guitar players, drummers, bass players, and that. A few of them are here tonight. But I want to spend one thing for a guy by the name of Randy Rhoads. If I hadn't met Randy Rhoads, I don't think I'd be sitting here now.
I've got a lot of work to do, and makes you realize there's a lot of responsibility. And this tour, I want to really get myself together and work harder, you know, because I'm really proud and honored, and I don't want to stop here, you know.